along the lines of, what was asked after the game, but and similar to last year when there were issues with the quarterback play, but is there a breaking point for you on the defense where you feel perhaps a coaching change, scheme change, significant personnel changes are necessary?
Yeah, that stuff, that makes no sense to me right now, because if you really go back and look at it, and this is probably the first time that I can really say that you look at a game and say, this was a matter of 4 or 5 plays, okay, on both sides of the ball. If we do certain things and eliminate a couple of these here and a couple of these there, we have a chance. I know you can't, okay, but to sit here and talk about stuff like that after, really, if you look at a defense, it would probably amounted to really just 2 plays, okay? And to me, that's the way I'm looking at it. I thought we took some strides. I thought we did some positive things. We did a couple of things that, we needed to. And unfortunately, when it came time to do a couple other things, we didn't do them. We didn't execute it properly. Could we have been something different? Yeah, maybe. But to want to sit here and make wholesale, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me right now. It really doesn't. And whether it's breaking time or not, that's a decision I'll make at the time I think is right for us. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to those types of things. What I'm looking at is, did we improve? Did we get better? I don't know. I thought I did say that we were a little immature. We had some things we had to grow and get better at. And I'll continue to say that. This is a young football team. It doesn't excuse us for making the mistakes we did. But we do have to be better. We have to be more consistent. We have to play better. We got to make sure we're putting the players in position to have success, guys. And that's the way I look at it.
And with the injuries kind of piling up, do you feel like you have the depth and the personnel to do the things that you want to do on defense at this point?
Well, I think as a football team, I think we have enough guys to give us a chance to compete every week. And that's the most important thing. You go out, you line up, and you play the game to find out. And that's all we can do. You play with who you have on your roster, and you make the best out of it, and we will. We'll show up, and we'll play hard.
Thanks, Ron.
Mm-hmm.
Ron, as a little bit of a follow-up to that, as recently as your last year in Carolina, you were the play caller for that team. As you've considered what to do to help this defense, have you considered?
Guys, okay? I'm not going that way, okay? Just understand that. I like what we did. I thought what we did last week gave us an opportunity, okay? So at the end of the day, what we're going to do is we're going to continue to work, guys. The only way you're going to get better is to work and practice hard, practice as best as you can, and then you go out and you play.
Well, I was just going to ask if you were going to potentially just get even more involved than you already are, but
guys, again,
cool.
Like I just said, okay?
All good. With regards to linebackers, the last couple games in particular, you haven't been using the base, but even this game, you didn't even really use more than like one linebacker a ton, and Jamin Davis only played 13 snaps. Just curious kind of where you are at that position right now.
Well, what we're doing is by game plan. We just felt that what we had planned, what we thought we could do and have success with, we went with. And again, I thought there were some good things that we did. We put ourselves in position to make some plays in some situations. It's just unfortunate. Like I said, to me, defensively, if you could sit there and say, oh, you could take 2 plays back, shoot, that would make a world of difference, but you can't.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, when you talk about putting guys in the best position to succeed, are there examples that you have that you've seen that? And does that mean maybe using somebody else? Does that mean using them a little bit differently? What does that mean?
It means a little bit of what you just said. I think the thing that we did, and as an example, we played a little bit more of a different front look. Okay, we played with 5 bigs down and went from there. We played with 1, 2, and 3 linebackers in certain situations, thinking that this is what we felt and we believe was best for us as far as our game plans were concerned.
And then obviously, you earlier asking about big changes, but what are some little things maybe that do you feel like some techniques, the way it's being coached and all that, whether it's along like things that the average person might not see, but you guys feel like make a difference?
Well, there are some things that when it comes to the techniques and the things that we need to do, the very littlest detail makes a difference. Whether your leverage is inside or out, if a guy's going to cross you, you got to make sure he crosses over the top and not underneath you. If you're going to fit, you want to make sure you're fitting where it's opposite of the next crease to you. In other words, if a guy's in the A gap, I can't fit into the A gap he's in. I got to make sure I fit into the B gap. So those are the little details, little minutia things that we've got to make sure we're doing well. If we're blocking, we got to make sure our aiming point's where it's supposed to be. If we're running, we got to make sure we're pressing the hole before we make a cut. I mean, these are the little detail things, the little things that are really important that make a bigger difference. And we've got to pay attention to those and make sure we're executing them to the best of our abilities.
Thank you.
After watching the film, what did you see on Alvin Kamara's rushing touchdown there? Was there maybe someone out of position or a missed gap, or was that just a result of
missed the
blocking?
crease. We were supposed to be in the gap. We weren't where we needed to be. And as I've said, guys, if you're not where you need to be, they're going to find you. And that's the truth. And that's what happened.
And as far as Curtis, is there any thought on maybe switching up the plan there? Is he still going to kind of be on a week-to-week basis?
Well, he's going to be on a week-to-week basis, guys. What we have to do with Curtis is, we've got to stick to the plan, continue to work him. One of the hard things is we were trying to be very mindful of it. And unfortunately, on the sideline, he felt he was tightening up. And we're not going to put him out there and expose him to an even more serious injury. So we're just going to continue to be smart with it. And hopefully it'll settle in and he'll be ready to go. In the meantime, that means some other guys might get a few more opportunities. You guys saw DeAndre out there get a few more. Dax Milne's got some. Hump came up big and made some plays for us as well. So, that's how we have to approach it.
Hey, Ron. I remember when you were giving that talk to the assistants around the league, you're talking about delegating authority to your assistants, but ultimately setting a standard as the coach. So I'm wondering, how does that apply when like a unit is struggling, like the defense is? Like, what do you do to get them back on track as the head coach? And, you said you weren't going to get more involved, but like, what is the role of a head coach when a unit is struggling like the way?
Well, you guys really want to go there, don't you? The truth of the matter, guys, is I oversee it. I look at it. I talk to the coaches. I talk to the players. Okay. We talk about what we're doing. We go through all that, whether you're doing well or you're not doing well. It is a matter of getting involved. When certain things have to happen in the appropriate moment, when I feel that it needs to be done, I'll do it. It's that simple. Okay. We're trying to build and create. And if you're constantly mixing and changing and moving and doing things, you never really find out. Okay. If we had done anything drastically crazy last year, we did it after I felt that it was time to do it. And that's what we're going to do here. I don't see the issues the way you guys do. Okay. I have the opportunity to watch the tape, to break the tape down, to look at what we're doing and look at how we're doing it. Okay. And as we go through these things, we're trying to make sure that we're doing things the right way. If we're not, we're trying to correct them and working to correct them. All right. We only, the tough part is you only have 53 guys and you try to use to the best of their abilities to put them in position to have success. And that's what we're doing. And to be very honest, as I said, we had 2 plays that if you could take back, it's a different conversation, but you can't, which I get. But I'm not going to damn the rest of it. Okay, we played 56 plays on defense. Okay, the other 54 I'm not going to damn just because 2 of them weren't where they're supposed to be. Okay, I mean, really, seriously, think about it. Think about what those 2 plays mean. And again, you can't change them, but that's not the reason. That's not the sole reason. Okay, there was, if you really think about it, there was almost 200 plays in that game. Offense, defense, and special teams. A lot of things happened in that period of time.
Right. I'm not trying to come off disrespectful at all here either, but aren't the 2 plays indicative of season-long problems because you guys keep giving up big plays?
Yeah, it's true for anybody. Every game, as I said earlier, comes down to a matter of X amount of plays per game. Okay, and as those things happen, those are the things you have to learn to eliminate, and you have the chance. You have to make plays. Okay, and unfortunately, we haven't been that consistent doing that. That's why we're 2-3. I get that part of it. But again, so we're going to start changing people. Well, who else am I going to go to? These are the guys that we got to train and teach and go with. Okay, you just can't pull guys and bring guys in without consequences. And doing certain things affect certain other parts of the team and of what you're trying to do. So you either stick with what you got, continue to teach, train, and coach, okay? And keep at it. And eventually you will see the improvement, okay? And that's where I am with this.
I appreciate it, Ron. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'll slide us to the offense if you don't mind. What were your takeaways on Taylor Heineke after watching the tape?
Well, unfortunately, we were in a position where I think Taylor forced some things to happen, tried to make some things happen that he didn't need to. I think, again, it's one of those things that you don't want him to feel like he has to make the big play all the time. He's just got to make the right play. He did some good things early on. He missed some throws early on, but he made some terrific plays. And there's, again, let's don't forget, this dude's only sixth start. So there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some angst. But right now we're going to live with it because that's where we are.
And you may not be able to give one, but can you give an update on Ryan Fitzpatrick and his rehab and just how he's doing and his influence in the building?
He's been around every day, doing his rehab, doing the things he needs to, and he's progressing.
Appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ron, with Heyman and Benjamin getting maybe fewer snaps yesterday than maybe expected, how do you balance trying to win now and also developing those guys?
Well, this really is about trying to win. I mean, you line up to play to win. And sometimes based on what we're doing schematically, guys will get the opportunity to play and guys won't. And when they play, they got to play to the best of their abilities. They got to take advantage of those chances. We can't, if you just throw everything away and just say, hey, just all about developing, then okay, great. But what does it say? I mean, what are we trying to do? Well, we're going to try and win. And again, if part of the game plan calls for us to do these things, that's what we're going to do.
What do you think that means for those two guys moving forward?
Well, it means that hopefully this week we'll look at what we want to do against our next opponent and say, okay, these are things that we're going to do, and you're part of it. That's all it means. I mean, again, we're trying to win football games.
Thank you.
Hey, Ron, yesterday in his postgame comments, William Jackson III kind of said that there's stuff he would like to be doing, but that the coaching staff wants him to try other ways. Are those conversations kind of ongoing with some of the players, just getting folks into the system where you guys want them?
Yeah, it is. I mean, again, it's also finding out what they are comfortable with. Again, if we can get guys to understand and see it, we believe we can do it. And that's what we're trying to do with William. He's done some really good things. We thought yesterday was one of his better games. We played a lot of man, and you really saw some of the things that that he can do. What you would really like is, again, you're going to mix it up because you don't always want to be that predictable. You want certain looks to be kind of camouflaged, so to say, disguised or whatever you want to say it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to just mix it up.
And then specifically with Jamin, what does he need to show you to get on the field more?
Well, I think, again, it's all about game planning, guys, and how we game plan and how we attack the opponent is what we think is best right now. He's just got to continue to work and grow and just keep at it. He's going to get his opportunities to play. It's just as we feel that he's where he needs to be, we can expose him and give him an even bigger role.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ron, you've talked a lot about the players, like just little things, those few plays that have created those big moments in games. You guys are going up against a Chiefs team that notably likes to go for the big plays, things like that. Just, I guess, not level of concern, but you've talked about some of the people being out of place, the little things. Do you feel like you guys can get that sort of thing cleaned up ahead of this game with some of the players they have on their side in particular?
I thought we took, again, as I said, a pretty big step. I thought guys were doing a little bit better with the details. There were a couple plays, as I said, that we really got caught. And again, we see the example of what happens when we're not doing it the way we need to. That's probably the thing that we've got to understand. Coming into this game, is there concern? Absolutely. But again, we're going to work and try and get ourselves ready so that we can handle those situations and circumstances.
And this is just me being curious, but what do you feel like you've learned about yourself when you've gone up against Andy Reid coached teams in the past?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that when you're prepared and you're ready to roll, you got a chance to beat them. You really do. And that's the thing that, Andy does a great job. Fortunate enough to have been with him for 5 seasons, see how he's done things, and then coached against him. And if we do things right, we give ourselves a chance.
Thank you, Ron.
Hey, Ron, on the Hail Mary at the end of the first half, I believe one of your DBs said that you guys were trying to take away the quick out for the potential
Right.
field goal, which I understand. I guess my question is, how hard is it to balance taking that away in that situation versus making sure you have guys deeper to take away from ultimately what happened?
Well, that's the unfortunate part about it, is because there is that balance. And as you go through it and you progress through the play, now the play converts to that as far as defense is concerned. And now it's about making sure you're in position when the ball does come down. And unfortunately, we weren't all where we needed to be. And that's just the way it is.
And then one quick one on offense. You guys were backed up so often, as I think, as everybody's talked about. The first time it was 3 runs near the end of the first half before that Hail Mary. In the second half, it was more of a mixture. And obviously it led to, on third down, that interception. Again, how difficult is it for you, Scott specifically, but as a coach, to balance being aggressive, being conservative, not wanting to make a mistake in those spots where it could really haunt you?
Well, just before the half, what you're hoping to do is kill as much of the clock as possible, which we were able to do. You'd like to have gotten just a little bit more space, obviously, so that you don't have to run it 3 times, and because if you look at what happened to them when we had them backed up, we were probably an arm away from a safety. So again, that's kind of like you said, what's the balance? If you can get a couple of yards, 2 or 3 yards on that first running play, you'd love to be able to do that. But we didn't, unfortunately. So we felt we wanted to kill the clock. The next time we had the opportunity, we got those yards. Unfortunately, we had a little dump. We were trying to get to JD, and one of the rushers, we had blocked him at the line of scrimmage, and he had come off the block and just fell into the hole and knocked the ball down. It's one of those things that maybe if he had gotten a little push, he would have stayed where he was, and we had JD for probably what could have turned into about 4 or 5 yards, and the guy misses a tackle, he makes the first down. So, that's the fortunes of the game. It doesn't always happen the way you hope it would happen or you want it to happen, and you just got to go with it. The unfortunate part too is, Taylor tried to force a ball, tried to drop one over the top of the underneath coverage, and unfortunately, it was just a little short and got intercepted.